Hello there. Welcome to Jeff and Richard's Tripe and Whatnot F the News, Episode 4. Now, what is it about some people that the only answer they have in life seems to be to go about the place accusing anyone who does not agree with them of being racist? And in this regard, Humza Yousaf is a really balanced chap, isn't he? He's got a chip on both ruddy shoulders. And the guy who said this...
Constable, white. Every assistant chief constable, white. The head of the Law Society, white. The head of the Faculty of Advocates, white. Every prison governor, white. And not just justice. The chief medical officer, white. The chief nursing officer, white. The chief veterinary officer, white. The chief social work advisor, white. Almost every trade union in this country headed by people who are white. In the Scottish Government, every Director General is white. Every chair of every public body is white.
And there you have it. And the guy who said that is making accusations of racism against this guy. Yep. Humza Yousaf has made accusations of racism against David Lammy. He called him a racist for travelling to Israel to meet one of their ministers, Gideon Saar, and shock horror, in order to press for a ceasefire. And he said because they wouldn't do the same thing with Vladimir Putin or his foreign affairs minister, Sergei Lavrov, then this attempt was rooted in racism. All because Yousaf said Arab lives simply do not matter to the same extent as European lives. Some people spout any old guff to try and stay relevant, don't they? And Yousaf, has got his eye on some sort of international affairs job, according to the press, when he steps down as an MSP at the next Holyrood elections. And he's set up his own limited company to offer business support service activities. So if you want someone to continually lecture your staff on racism, then you know who to call for, don't you? Both he and Nicola Sturgeon are now part-time MSPs, says the Mail. Nicola Sturgeon and Humza Yousaf have been accused of becoming part-time MSPs while they rake in lucrative earnings from outside interests. The two former SNP First Ministers have been among the least active politicians in the Scottish Parliament in the last year, it reports. You just could not make this up, could you, Richard? What a total and utter sort of Horlick situation, isn't it?
Oh, yes, totally. Sorry, I just have to go over what you said there because, as it says in the Telegraph, this man was, David Lammy, our Foreign Secretary, was in a meeting trying to help secure a ceasefire in Gaza, which would save the lives of potentially a lot of innocent civilians and men, women and children. Something that apparently Humza Yousaf cares very much about. Yet, because how can you have a negotiation if you don't to try and broker a ceasefire if you're not speaking to both sides? Okay, so David Lammy, this is one of those rare occasions where I'm going to, support David Lammy and, that's it, because how else is he going to do it? I mean, what's Humza Yousaf's problem with speaking to both sides? Who does he think you're going to speak to? Just speak to... hang on a second. Is Humza saying if you want a ceasefire, the only people you have to speak to are the Palestinians? Is that what he's trying to say? I'm sorry, I'm completely amiss with this, Jeff.
No, it's this Russian angle. If you won't go and talk to for some reason he's saying that we won't go and talk to Putin and Lavrov to save Ukrainian lives, but because Lammy went to Israel to try and save Arab lives, that somehow anti-Arab. That's what he seems to be saying to me. Have I got that mixed up there somewhere? I think he's just so up his own existence that he thinks he can just say anything off the cuff without thinking. You know,
Yeah, it's quite annoying to say the least.
a joke, just a joke. And I bet he'd be the first to have a go at people like, you know, we'll have to have a look. I wonder if he said anything about Nigel Farage going off to America or something, you know. I bet he'd be the first to moan about that as well.
Yeah.
Well, Yousaf is the biggest racist going, says Ian Rankin. Should have been in jail under his own hate crime laws. Yeah, he should have.
Yeah.
You know, he's the one who said, I've shown you the video. And the Labour guy at the time said about the same sort of thing. I mean, this is just getting so... everybody knows, don't they, that the only people you can safely call racist are the white people.
Yes, everyone's... Oh, we got echo again there, Jeff.
Yeah, have you?
Yeah. Just a little bit. I'm going to keep my voice down. Just might be my incredibly booming voice. So I think I'm going to I'll see if I can just talk a little quieter. Yes, I mean, just this whole thing about the white. You know, it's like, I mean, does he actually walk around Scotland and look around and think, oh my goodness, there's more white people. Oh, there's another white person. Oh, there's another white person. Scotland is mostly white. You know, it just is as it is. There's nothing racist about white appointments and people taking high positions of power because they're, you know, who happen to be white. It's not because they're white. There is, I hope that there is some form of meritocracy in Scotland, and otherwise, then people would simply be well, maybe they do have a racist problem in Scotland, Jeff. Oh my goodness, you racist Scots, you.
Glenn Piper says, I don't, when I go to the pub or work, look around and go, who is white? It's a racist mindset. If you focus on skin colour, majority of us don't care. And that's exactly right. The only people who are highlighting this all the time are those who are going around pointing at any old thing. Oh, that book is racist. That table is racist. It's got that bad. Buildings are racist. And pictures are racist.
Dogs are racist in Wales, apparently.
Who are?
Dogs. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes. Dogs are racist. I remember that.
Yeah.
Because they only chase white sheep, don't they?
I don't know. Well, apparently newcomers find dogs offensive, and therefore the countryside, dogs in the countryside is a racist thing. I believe that was what the Welsh Parliament commissioned. They commissioned a report, and those were the recommendations to observe and to understand that dogs are racist.
Yeah. Yes. As Jason Ashmore says, the left will eat itself. Oh, I really hope so. We can do without all this division that they keep hoiking on us. They really are out to destroy us, aren't they? They just don't like us at all. And if they don't like us, then go somewhere else. If you don't like us, go somewhere else.
Yes, if people don't like the country that they're in, and they favour a country with a different way of life, go to the country with a different way of life that you'd like, where you feel more home. This isn't racism. In fact, it's quite racist to suggest that people should change their way of life to accommodate them. What are they? Are some people trying to say that their version of culture is better than ours? Oh, okay. Well, that potentially with the same principle would be measured against each other, would be prejudicial.
It's not like we're forcing people to stay here and suffer, is it? So what's all this about? Everyone else seems to go around happily enjoying themselves, getting on with their day, going down the pub, going to the picture, wherever they go, and without a care in the world, without looking around them, continually looking for things that are racist. Some people just do that. And I'm sure it's only to try and stay relevant in politics for some people. If Humza Yousaf turns up for a job interview, I bet most people wouldn't recognise him now.
Yeah. Okay, so good comment here by Rob Everett. My house is racist. The walls are white. The ceilings are white. The bed sheets are white. The ensuite is white. The fridge is white. And I like my bread white. Oh, dear.
Dear. Then we give it a suntan in the toaster, don't we?
Anyway, right. Let's
Yes.
just we have to move on here to your favorite part of the show. And again, this is all for you, Dan Wootton. Yes, Jeff, I've got to do this. You can sit through this, and all the rest of you can sit through this. Royal Family Live. This is in the Daily Express. Prince Harry and Meghan make mockery of royals with political rant. The Sussexes have been criticised by a conservative US think tank following their latest statement, which I am not about to read out because I couldn't care less. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the news. This is the news. That this is what they tell you is important news. Remember it, reframe it, swipe past it. If you've got a newspaper, tear it out. Oh, mind you, might tear something out on the other side, but that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Don't
Which is more important.
Yeah, so we go straight over now to the Daily Mail, right? And this is so interesting. This is Sophia Verger, 52, and Lewis Hamilton, age 40, look cozy as they enjoy New York lunch outing with pals after sparking romance rumors. Sophia Verger, and I'm not reading any more of that either. Sorry. I'm sorry if you enjoyed that. Oh, did they?
Richard,
That's interesting.
I would have expected everyone to have read that really important news today. They must have seen it and read it. It's really important, isn't it?
Oh, hey, it gets Jeff. It gets better. Hang on. Now, this is in the Sun. Molly Fury. Molly May hits back at claims Tommy Fury breakup is a publicity stunt for new documentary. It comes as Tommy Fury revealed the reason behind their split for the first time. No, not going to do any more. No, I don't care. I don't know who Molly May is, and I don't care. I really don't care. But apparently this is important news. That's why it's in the Sun. You are being psychologically corralled into thinking that these completely irrelevant things are important. They're not important, okay? Right? It doesn't matter, okay? I'm sure to these people's lives it matters, okay? Fair enough. We've all got drama in our lives. Okay, then. Here's
a minute. Just before you go on, thanks very much, Tezbot, who says the religion of peace doesn't like dogs because a certain Mo had issues. So, yeah, that's, as you said, it's... dogs are must therefore be racist if it affects the certain demographic. Yeah.
Well, I'm actually going to go now. Believe it or not, I'm going to find something that I do think is quite important. And this, for a change, is in the Daily Mirror. Not one of my favourite newspapers. Shock NHS hospital video shows dying patients lined up in corridors in third world scenes. Shocking footage shows third world scenes in hospitals' corridors as the Royal College of Nursing publishes a report saying the situation on the NHS frontline is worse than ever. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, it was going back 2 years ago on the tail end of the pandemic, and I had to go to hospital, and I've never seen anything like it in my life. You had all this spillover of people who had not gone to hospital with various illnesses during the pandemic because they were too frightened to by the government, and wards were shut down. Only certain operations were taking place. And I just left it. And if it wasn't for the fact that my wife, my girlfriend, she was my girlfriend at the time, happened to be a nurse, she was in St. Bartholomew's years ago, then I probably wouldn't be here because she sort of looked after me. And because there's no way I was going to be, what was it, 24, 48-hour waits in Prince Charles Hospital in Merthyr Tydfil and the Grange down by Newport. Oh my goodness. Absolutely horrific. And I've seen this myself firsthand. But it's not just that. You have to realize there's been a population explosion, okay? If there's more people in the country, and if the public services don't meet the demand of the increase in population, if the infrastructure is not there, and the funds are not there, and the staff are not there, and the hospital beds are not there, guess what's going to happen? A lot of the ills that we have in this country, I'm afraid to say, are through mass immigration in a very short period of time. There's been no chance or time for people to integrate and assimilate into our society. And that's not a racist thing to say. That is true. Okay, there we go, Jeff.
Yeah, but on top of that is that when you're thinking about hospitals, schools, waterworks, gas pipes, electricity pylons, everything, the whole infrastructure of this country, you have to plan this 20, 30 years ahead.
Yes.
So what you need to do is have a handle on the population size in 20, 30 years hence. Governments since Tony Blair have no idea how many are in the country, who's coming in and who's leaving. They have no idea. They don't care, and they are not going to change it. That means that when the population figures come out, they say, this is the population. What do you think it's going to be? Haven't a clue. We don't know. The ONS makes projections about it and tries to sort of look ahead. But as far as I'm concerned, I think they're woefully underestimating the current population and the population into the future. That means we can't plan because we build 1,000 houses for 2,000 families.
Yes.
That's where we are. We build schools. We don't build enough. In fact, we should be building fewer schools because Brits don't have children these days. So we don't need as many schools. So we import people instead. So what we should be doing is shutting schools down, actually. In fact, in London, I think they're planning to do just that. So that tells you where we're going as a country. We're just importing people. And because we're not quite sure what we're going to be importing, we just import lots of people, hoping that we end up with the right number of bricklayers somehow and the right number of doctors somehow. There's no planning to this at all. And it's going to cripple the country because we've no idea. Our population is not being controlled in the way it should be with family-centered policies so that people can afford to have children and have time to look after them properly and all the rest of it, which at the moment I don't think they have because they're working too hard to cater for everyone coming into the country.
Yes.
And then when they go to the hospital or they go anywhere, there's no room for them.
No. That's absolutely correct.
And one of the main problems that people talk about, the newcomers have healthcare first. There's a big reason for that because we don't know how ill they are. We've no idea of their medical history before they get here. And if they're coming from tropical countries or anywhere where there are unusual, well, not for that area, it's a usual disease, but here it's unusual. We've got to find out early before it spreads. So that's why they do it. And it just puts more strain on everything. Why people can't understand all this, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, just a comment here from Jason Ashmore that sums up one of the reasons that I go through these tripe, ludicrous headlines. Los Angeles is on fire, and the Sun thinks we care more about Tommy, Amy, Molly, May, lol. Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing, you see. We are being told that these things are important. All distraction. But as I just said, the real important news, funny enough, just came out in the Daily Mirror, which is that our hospitals and our NHS are in complete, total and utter systemic breakdown. This is something that everyone is paying for. We are all paying for this. We all pay taxes.
Yeah.
Even if you think you don't, you do, because there's VAT on the goods you buy. We're just paying towards a system that's crumbling around us. And why? Because we've got people just flooding into our country. And this is not prejudicial. And you see, the left's thinking on this is that, look, if we asset strip everybody, right? If you asset strip all the wealth from the rich, then somehow all that can go into this huge pot, and you keep doing it and you keep doing it. And I hate to say it, that Margaret Thatcher's famous line that, and I'm not a great fan of Margaret Thatcher, she's all, whatever. But her famous line is that the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. And that is absolutely correct. You really do. That's what's going to happen, I'm afraid, is that very soon, as we are seeing. I mean, look at the multimillionaires leaving. The wealth is leaving this country. Investment in Britain. People aren't going to invest in Britain. They say, no, that's not going to happen. We're not going to put our money into a country that is looking so incredibly unstable. The bond markets are suffering. You know, the purchase of, well, not the bond markets themselves are suffering. The actual cost of borrowing is suffering.
For us.
Yeah.
For
And
government debt, gilts.
Yeah. And we're in trouble, people. We're in trouble. There we go.
Yeah, I know. It just beggars belief where we're at the moment as a country. Everyone says, "Oh, we don't want to go back to the 50s where everyone was dying from all sorts of illnesses." But at least we're an integrated country. At least you could trust your government to say that they'll do the best thing at the time for the country. We'd just come out of the Second World War, and we needed to rebuild, and we needed cohesion as a nation, and we came together and rebuilt the country. It was rebuilt in quite short order. We got on and did it, and now we seem to be hell bent on dismantling the whole thing because it was built up by predominantly white population, so it must be dismantled, mustn't it?
Wait, sorry, I'm developing Tourette's here. I'm going to start saying white every white, other word. Funny thing you say about people who were dying back in the 1950s of all these different diseases, but cancer rates are up. Heart disease I believe, is going up now.
Yeah.
I believe that diabetes is going up. So I think back to the 1950s, I think, okay, so all right, what's changed? What has changed? People used to drink a lot more alcohol. They used to smoke a hell of a lot more, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And yet the cancer rates were lower. Or was it? And this is the line everyone comes up with, is that, oh, no, cancer rates weren't lower. What it was, detection rates were lower. I'm sure there will be a factor of that. But if you're bloody ill, you're going to get found out. It's going to be found out by the doctors, even back in the 1950s, I'm afraid to say. And, yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. And coming out of the Second World War, actually, a lot we had was rationing for years after that, because we needed to, we were still on a sort of a war footing, and we went straight into the Cold War. But we still rebuilt this country, and we were still integrated and cohesive as a society in the most part. I don't get that feeling these days. Everyone out there is trying, well, not everyone out there, a lot of people out there, a large minority, are trying to, each one of them is their own victim, aren't they? I'm the victim here. You must treat me specially because I'm the victim. You're not a victim, you're a prat. Just join in with everybody else, take your racist glasses off and start treating everybody else as a human being, and you might get somewhere.
Well, I think it was Alex Phillips who said on a few occasions that if all you do is look at the world through a lens or a prism of racism, all you will see is racism everywhere.
Yeah.
I've said too many times that when I was a young man back in the 1990s, I don't remember racism being a thing. A few years before, in the 80s, granted, there was definitely hints of it. Definitely. But then the 1990s, we just seemed to we got over that. We were like, yeah, let's just get on. There was such an absence of viewing people based on their race, as I recall. And, I know this to be a fact because of my past, what I used to get up to back in those days. And I can tell you now that was a thing. There we go.
Yeah. Dithian says, in the 50s and 60s, work in the country and in the home was more physical. We ate less and exercised more. That's probably got a lot to do with it, actually. A bit of sweat and tears never gets missed, does it? So maybe we should...
Our carbohydrate intake was much lower in the 1950s and 1960s.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. Potatoes were staple. Potatoes, because
maybe I refined carbohydrates, sugars.
Yeah, refined. Someone earlier in the stream at the comments said that it's probably down to processed foods, which I think is the thing.
Well, sugar
part
is
of
no
it.
good for you. It's not. Okay. Sugar is not good for you, period. I don't believe potatoes are particularly good for you or any of the nightshades family. I know I have an issue with them massively. And I, like many others, seem to thrive on the lion diet, the carnivore diet, the lion diet, but in particular, the lion version of the carnivore diet, which I'm still slowly going back on and already feeling the benefits of. Thank you very much. You can keep your balanced diet and shove it.
Yeah, well, yes, I have a balanced diet. I have lots and lots of grapes, different sorts of grapes.
Yes. Liquid form. Yes.
Liquid forms. Yes. Anyway, I think we've sort of said our thing about all this, and it does just depress me that we've still got people out there. As you said, I thought we'd overcome this generally, and suddenly now people are out there. There's a job in it. It's called DEI. All these DEI jobs rely on division continuing and getting worse. You can build a DEI empire. DEI jobs should be eradicated because that would get rid of everyone looking for division. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for it and then creating it. Every single thing you say or do is suddenly interpreted as racist or isms and ists all over the place. And the sooner we get rid of them, the better. Get rid of the whole thing. And I bet you it all disappears within a couple of years and everyone looks back and says, what was all that about?
Yeah, good comment from Von Sauerkraut. White sugar is racist. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But the thing is, you are absolutely right there, Jeff, because as far as I'm concerned, the whole notion of DEI is completely racist. The whole thing, having DEI says that there is a race component and you have to have this amount of people from, even if it's disproportionate to the actual general population, you must still have these amount of people in. It's like if you've got hypothetically two Eskimos, I'm just using Eskimos as an example, two Eskimos living in Britain, just two, okay? And you've got a job coming up, you have to allow those Eskimos to have an equal chance of the job as everybody else combined. That's the logical conclusion of DEI. It is utterly racist. DEI is racist. Sorry, I believe in a meritocracy. The right man or woman for the job, and that's it.
Yeah, and that should be that all the time. No one ever looks on at a football match, do they? And says that that a certain majority race is underrepresented. No, because they want the best footballer on the pitch. But when it comes to a business, you're not allowed to have the best person on your pitch, are you? No. You have to have the right looking person for the job.
That's do you know what, Jeff? That's a very good point. I've never actually thought of it like that. Football is a very good example of how DEI clearly doesn't matter.
Have you ever seen the final of the 100 meters in the Olympics?
Yes. Yeah.
Look at the lineup.
Yeah.
Does anyone ever moan about that?
No. They're the men. They're the best men or women for the job. They're the best runners. That's it.
Yes.
Same
as the long distance runners.
Yeah.
We've had our long distance runners very good as they were too, and they were white, but generally that's the exception. Now, believe it or not, the white race is the minority race around the world.
Yes, that is correct.
We are the minority.
Yeah.
And that's why other people feature so largely in these other areas, because there's more of them. It's like, someone did say at one time when China had the largest population on the planet, they were talking about there were more geniuses in China than there were in the rest of the world.
But that makes sense, really.
And then suddenly they exploded onto the snooker scene, didn't they? And all sorts of different sports, because they were let out of their country. And, under the communist rule, it sort of relaxed and they all came out and suddenly they were everywhere. And people, well, where did they all come from? Well, they always existed. But no one ever looks at and says, oh, there aren't enough white people there, do they? They're underrepresented or anything like that, do they?
No.
So, no.
I mean, you don't get... The thing is, if anybody was to try and properly celebrate, for instance, white heterosexual male, have a day, a white heterosexual male day, as a celebratory thing, that would be just prejudicial on so many things, or branded, I should say. It would be branded prejudicial on for every reason aforementioned. And quite remarkable, really.
Now, A Lost Pilgrim's Journey says whites are 8% of the world population. I don't know the figure. All I know is that we're a minority. And actually, that means that surely under DEI, we should be given priority in everything. If that 8% figure is true, shouldn't we be given priority in everything?
2 minutes there, Jeff. I will check that because I believe that Rupert Lowe actually tweeted or X'd. I'll just have a quick look for this a second. If you carry on there, Jeff.
Yeah, there's a few comments here. So while you're doing that, but it does come down to this, doesn't it? We are being conditioned that it's our problem. And the way I look at it is I just want to get on with my life. I want to work hard and achieve things. I want to do things. I don't want to sit around and other people to do it for me. I find that the best person for the job is me, generally, to do what I want to do. So that's it. So I get on and do it myself. In fact, Richard and I just get on and do what we do, and not worry too much about other people. So why are they so worried about us? What's going on?
I can't actually find it at the moment, Jeff. I'm terribly sorry. I was looking for it. I did see Rupert giving that statistic, but it seems to have disappeared. So there we go. Whichever statistic, whatever number that was.
Anyway,
it's my eyesight. As you can tell, I'm not feeling the best still. I'm still full of cold. Oh, dear.
Yeah, I'm a victim. Well. Anyway, I think we've done that one to death.
No, let's annoy everyone for another half hour, shall we? Let's bore them. Are you sufficiently bored, ladies and gentlemen? Have we done your head in enough yet? With our middle-aged and witching.
Yes. Richard, I need another coffee. So
okay, off you go there. Victim.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your participation, and I hope we've sort of sparked a few ideas in people's heads, because we really are. We are allowing ourselves in this country to be destroyed, basically, and we shouldn't allow it. We should defend ourselves and our history and our, everyone moans, don't they, when they come here? Ooh, then why did they come here if they're just going to come and moan? Just join in with us.
Well, hang on, just before I have to stop you there, Jeff. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we were trying to get out of here. But the thing is, you have to admit, in Britain, we are very good at moaning. So maybe we have actually found the reason for mass immigration. There's a lot of people in this world who like to have a good moan. And Britain is particularly good at it. Ooh, not very nice weather today, is it, Mrs. Jones? Oh, no, it's not. And I think I've heard it's going to get worse as well. I mean, Jeff, you and I are professional moaners, let's face it.
Yes. Good Lord, actually, yes. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. More DEI to moan about, yeah.
Yes, absolutely, yes. We won't be happy until we're completely in misery.
Yes, that is the British way of life. That is us. And that makes it, that sort of says to me, then why on earth do people come here? It's just miseries and moaners. Makes you think, maybe that's why they come here, because they're misery moaners as well. So we're all joining.
Precisely.
That's what we need to do, is we need to say we're all misery moaners and we're all together as misery moaners. Maybe that would sort the country out. There you go.
We could have an army of miserable people standing on the white cliffs of Dover like that. They still haven't turned up, have they? No.
Yeah.
Call this an invasion? Rubbish. Pathetic. I used to see better invasions when I was in. Well, whatever. Anyway, listen, you lot. Do us a favor, please. press the like button and press the subscribe button, and then click the all options so you know when we put out a new video. And that would be absolutely wonderful if you could do that. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, and thank you very much indeed for watching. So on that note, I will say it's good morning from me.
And it's wait.
It's a white morning.
Roll the credits,
Okay.
man. Wait.
Goodbye.